Good morning. How are you? Well, we got 60-degree weather, and if I didn't have so much work to do after I finish this, I'd sit in the lounge chair with an iced tea with my shirt off and try to get a little color on this Irish skin. It's Irish and German, so I could get some. This is a day of celebration, not just because we passed the $1.9 trillion bill, but because of its content. It will take care of those who have suffered from the pandemic, and it will do something to right the imbalance between Wall Street and the whole rest of our nation. And what I'm talking about is the discrimination, really, in terms of earning power, productivity, and a failure to set minimum standards, because we judge a civilization by how it treats its own. And for years, we've done a miserable job of it. And for those who need a practical reason, where do you think revolutions come from? Where do you think violence comes from? It comes from a dissatisfied public that sees no alternative, has no hope in the future. But we have a hope in the future. Children are being covered by this act. People who are jobless, hungry, people who have small businesses, governments that are trying to figure out how they provide services, infrastructure which will provide jobs. And in the days ahead, I'm sure we'll see each of these items featured and discussed. But what do we hear from the Republicans? I saw a headline in the Post today which described the Republican ire, their anger. And why? Because this bill is helping the poor. That's it. That's their point. These phony Christians who subscribe to the New Testament, and I guess passages in the Old Testament, they excised the entire Sermon on the Mount, where it said, "Blessed are the poor at heart, for they are the children of God." These people talk about children, but they don't do anything for them. They put them at risk in schools. They don't care if they eat food. They don't care if they're homeless. They don't care about anything. They are very strong on the period from conception to cradle. And from cradle to grave, they don't care. And that's a problem, especially when your Constitution says to promote the general welfare. And they don't believe in it. But we have a president who set a new course, and he's already accomplishing things about 50 days into office. The vaccines are spreading, the bill has passed. And the most important thing is that people across this country wake up and they don't see Twitters and they don't see bad news. They see good news with difficulty sometimes. And that we can deal with. And the good news that we see is giving us hope, is giving us faith in the future. And that vision is what sustains a civilization. But a civilization is how you treat your own. And the Republicans, frankly, my dear, they don't give a damn. So hopefully they'll pay at the ballot boxes. There's only so much disinformation you can put out there when individuals are getting checks in the mail without Trump's signature on it, and they're getting jobs, and they're getting food, and they're seeing changes in the infrastructure, and their children are not at risk. So this evening, Biden is going to address the nation. And he's not going to get up there and run down the nation or its people. He's going to talk about this future that we have. And that's something to embrace. In addition, a new sheriff's in town. Merrick Garland has been approved by the Senate. And he said when he walked over to the Justice Department, as it became the Justice Department, that he felt like he was coming home after all the years he'd been there so many years ago. Finally, there's even some success down in, or out west from me, in Minnesota, where they're trying the case of Chauvin versus George Floyd. Chauvin killed George Floyd, and he's trying to claim it's something else as part of his defense. But the judge has decided that the case on appeal, whether or not the third-degree murder charge should be tried or not, he's decided to try it, despite the fact that it was on appeal. So he's reversed himself. So that favors the prosecution. Of course, in the meantime, we don't have that murder charge, the first degree, and we have the defense doing everything it can to keep blacks off the jury. But we would hope that people in that community, and when we choose these people, even with the vagaries of how jury selection works, that we're going to get people who will not be able to defy the plain facts of the tape, will not for an instant think that George Floyd actually, his own condition killed him rather than a knee to his neck long after he was unresponsive to anybody touching him or trying to get a reaction from him. So in that period, at least, if not before that, our boy who was killing him, that's not police work. That's not sanctioned by anyone, and not for a so-called $20 counterfeit bill. So we have good news on a beautiful day, and I hope you can get out. Maybe you can get in that lounge chair with an iced tea and relax a bit. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.